And even if it were finished out, it would not be functional because of this. So this is the way the drain was done when he put the pan liner in. The pan liner should overlap the bolt holes, and there's nothing like that whatsoever here. Next to the bolt holes are the weep holes and the troughs and all that stuff, and so that's the reason you do that. I don't know if it shows up on this phone very well on my video, but basically, I mean, you can go through the internet and find out how to set a shower pan, but the shower pan liner goes over the entirety of that. So if there's a hole cut out, which I don't agree with, it's cut out during the drain, where this plastic is pushed in the drain, that's where the hole would be. I don't do an entire hole. I think it's kind of stupid personally, so I do a little X cut right there in the drain where the drain barrel is at. This guy took the locking flange and cut a hole around that, which negated the whole purpose of having weep holes and all that stuff. So this shower, now that I've seen what happened before, I'm convinced this shower is flawed. It will leak. The only way to stop it leaking is to completely waterproof the pan surface, but then again, that's taking a chance. That's like putting, I don't know what the analogy would be. That's like putting pantyhose on your belt of your engine and hope that you can make it home. It's a horrible analogy. That's all I can think of.
Man's got to know his limitations.
As you can see, that is clearly a major mistake that these guys made. Everything else that I talk about is almost incidental at this point. So, you know, you can stay and listen if you're a homeowner, a DIYer, somebody who contemplates that they're going to do their own shower one day, or more importantly, they're going to hire somebody, because the preponderance of these jobs that I go on are done by so-called contractors. So just a little history on this one. This was basically this type of tile throughout the whole shower. This little 6x6 tile with the bull nose on it, and it just encompassed this whole shower area, and it was done okay. Nothing wrong with it, except that they didn't really take care of issues with the curb and the wall, which I always see 99.9% of the time when there's a leak below. It always has to do with this area or a knee wall. Always. Just my experience in doing this type of work. So the issue emanated from here, and in order to take care of that, they decided they were going to do their shower. Not they, but you know, they hired somebody. But the biggest problem they got into is this was a handyman. This was one of those guys that ride around in a truck that I do it all. You know, Mr. Handyman. I can do, yeah. And I'm not opposed to that necessarily, because before I started specifically doing tile work, I was a handyman also, you know, going back 22, 23 years ago. I have a lot of knowledge in plumbing. I can set your tub, I can change your water heater, I can even change out your air conditioner because I'm certified in that. So there's a lot of stuff that I can do. But when you get a referral from somebody, what have you done? Well, I've done backsplashes, and I've done floors and kitchens and bathrooms. Have you done a shower? Well, no, I haven't done a shower. Or if you have done a shower, let me see some pictures, or let me see some videos, or let me get some references from the people you did the shower from, so that you can find out what you don't know. I usually go into long diatribes about things, as you just saw in the previous little clip. This is doomed to fail from the start for a lot of different reasons other than what you saw. But let me kind of Sometimes it's funny because I know there's a lot of guys that watch my channel that are tilers, bathroom renovators and stuff like that, and they're gonna, sometimes I just like to show what's going on here so that everybody else can absorb it the way I had to when I first walk in here. It usually takes me about 10-15 minutes to kind of absorb, you know, all the issues that are going on. And then I go through the process of kind of enumerating all the issues that I see. Sometimes I miss little things, but it's almost incidental that I miss them because the preponderance of mistakes are just so enormous that I get sidetracked on stuff. And I get sidetracked on here quite a bit too. I've actually been with the homeowner now for the last hour, going through the process of knowing all what he did and what he didn't do and why he did certain things, and how the homeowner had to step in and say, no, that's not right, because the homeowner watched some of my videos and probably other people's videos and realized almost from the get-go, from the shower pan liner, that they were not really doing the right job, which is the time that he should have gotten rid of the contractor, but he didn't. So for whatever reason, the guy continued on, you know, with the supervision of the homeowner, which is not needed and not required and shouldn't have to happen. If you were a homeowner and you have to supervise your tile guy, get rid of the tile guy, because he should know more than you. So let me, without further ado, let me go through some of these things. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because I know other tile guys are going, oh my God. I'm going to start with the backer board because that's what I'm focusing on right now. Backer board is grain board, in this case from Lowe's. It's a little lighter color. And I have, if you watch my channel for any length of time, you know I have no problem with whatever your backer board happens to be. It's irrelevant. It could be cinder block that's 8 inches wide. It could be cardboard that's ½ an inch thick or whatever. It could be cardboard or cinder block. Those two diametrically opposed to each other for what they're made for, but it doesn't matter because when you put a waterproofer on, Red Guard, Aqua Defense, Curdy Schluter, any product that repels water, then your backer board is irrelevant. So they started with backer board that's green board, and that's okay. I have no problem with that. But they set it in such a way that they never really thought about how to make things meet. Like this piece here should have been kind of capped off. So they capped off the top. If they capped off the top, why didn't they cap off the side? Yes, why? There's cracks in here all over the place, and you're going to see those cracks as kind of a continuing thing going on, a theme, if you will, that goes on here. Another thing too that I didn't mention when I came down here before in the video, grain board on a curb. That to me is still a big no-no, and besides and regardless and despite the fact that I'm red guarding everything, I'm not putting grain board on a curb. There are two things that I'm very focused on putting a backer board, proper backer board, and one is the curb for sure, the other is a bench. If there's a bench in the corner, that would also be a cement backer board. Curb, same way. That they also embedded, and so they used the sheetrock in here, but they embedded, in other words, they put the pan liner in, they stuck the wallboard onto the wall, and then they poured the pan. Already is going to get mold and mildew that would be innocuous because you do have a waterproofer on the front, but the back of it's going to have black mold and mildew all pervasive around there because they've embedded a gypsum product in an area that potentially will get wet. And I say potentially because they never did anything about the floor. So that's definitely a big no-no. And that they didn't raise, as I do on my curbs. Well, any of my backer board is going to be raised up, and my floor tile is going to slide underneath that gap, so that there's no possible penetration of water up in here. And yeah, so there's cracks going on everywhere. That these cracks were never filled with anything, and they waterproofed everything with the cracks still there. Negates the whole purpose of the waterproofing, which to me is kind of funny. Not funny in a good way, but you know, there we go. We got a crack here, even though it was waterproof. You know, it just, like when I first came in here, look at that huge crack back there. When I first came in here, I knew these guys had never built a shower before, because you can't build a shower doing stuff like this. Before I get started too much, I want to show you, before I miss it, and I don't know if you can see it, I don't have a flashlight with me. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a huge crack inside of here. And I mean so large that I can get this piece of Schluter almost, if it wasn't at an angle, I could get that and fit it inside of there. But they waterproofed it, and they waterproofed it prematurely. There's a big crack at the top. Like nothing is consistent. Well, it's consistently wrong. But look at the tile that's cut. It's cut, half an inch off of the wall. But not half an inch here. It's a 1/4 inch off of the wall. That's another 1/4 inch here. And then it spreads out to half an inch and then down to nothing as you get to the top. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, sometimes when I go on these jobs, I'm like, okay, he was a tile setter. He knew how to do backsplashes, kitchen floors, bathroom floors, or whatever. I'm not even sure, based on some of this stuff, that he is a tiler, in fact. And here's the weird thing, too. So I have this level here, and look at the tile. The tile is perfectly level right there, which is cool. But when you get to the top, it's not perfectly level. You know, it's off. And when you get down here, it's off by about 1/8 of an inch, which isn't bad. And it's got a slope on it. But look what they did here. This is off. Like, that's off big time. Right there would be level. Look at that gap you have going on, which is the same overhang right there. They pushed these in to the point where the thin set is pushing through on some of these tile, which now you have to go in and scrape it after it's dry. Speaking of thin set, when I talked about the homeowner kind of managing the contractor, they bought this big 3.5 gallon container of tile adhesive, and that's what they were going to set all this tile with, including the floor. And the homeowner had to step in and say, oh, no, you can't use that. And so it didn't get used, fortunately, but that's another point where he should have just kind of stopped what was going on, that he didn't know that you can't use tile adhesive in here. God, there's so many things here. Hold on a second. What was the other thing that I was focused? Oh, the lines, the cracks, and all that stuff. And then I look down here and I see all these screws that they're not even screws, they're nails. They were just kind of punched into the wall because that's what he used for a ledger board. So for whatever reason, he decided not to use wood, that he used nails as a ledger board. Never seen that before. Interesting. There's this Schluter that they decided on because there apparently isn't a bullnose that matches this. Look at the huge gap in here. The Schluter strip was used, and as I was speaking with the homeowner, I was trying to talk him out of using the Schluter because you have all these compound corners and stuff going on, and there's other ways that we can finish off the tile. But as we were talking, he started to pull up on this with almost no effort whatsoever. It came up because it wasn't set right, and it was set prior to the tile. And I had another video that shows how to put this stuff in properly the way I do it, so that nothing like this could ever happen. But anyway, yeah, that's another issue. Look at what he did. This was too long. It's coming out too far. Well, there's some sheetrock back there. Let me just push it back and make a little notch out for the sheetrock. Very strange. This is already set, and it's set flat to the wall. And when it's set flat to the wall, it means the tile is set flat to the wall, which you cannot do because walls aren't perfect, especially on this home, because, you know, it's much older than a lot of them. And when you set tile flat to the wall and the walls aren't perfect, that's why you end up with lippage. This is a ceramic tile that's pretty straight, doesn't have a lot of bowing and stuff going on, so there really shouldn't be any lippage whatsoever. This tile is probably not the best tile to use in a shower. I wouldn't use it because you end up with small grout lines with unsanded grout, and even though the grout's getting better, blah 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 blah, there's a bend in the wall, and so he's following the wall instead of following the tile, which is why you have lippage, which is why you don't put your strip in first. You set that later, and he keeps consistently putting these strips in. He even put this one in, and he's bending these strips, which I thought was kind of funny. Look up here. So he's bending these strips to conform to the corners and all that stuff, and I really haven't seen that. In fact, I just ran across that, I think up in Canada, I have to say A, sorry. I ran into a lot of bending of strips up there, which I would never dawn on me to try and bend one of these. Not that it's good or bad, just different, odd. So many things. This tile, he got lucky on because he is following the wall instead of his tile. and he didn't back butter his tile. He just troweled out his mortar, his thin set, and stuck the tile straight to the wall. So he's following his wall and got lucky with this border, because the border doesn't actually match up and there's very little lippage, so that's a good thing. Probably the only thing that was done kind of half-assed right. But he didn't, a couple of things. He didn't follow the border all the way around. Well, let's not follow it all around, let's just do tile. Well, crap, I can't just do tile because now we have this gap going on that is the same width of this glass tile that he had to set in here, you see? So the math would have worked out if he had used this strip, and that strip, and then cut off that one and set that above there. That would have beget this, and then he would have had a full tile going up. But he didn't do that. So he ran into an issue, which he tried to rectify. So right smack dab in the middle of this tile, you have this strip. Then, even weirder, I don't know. I have no explanation for this. He's got all these tile cut at about 2 1/4 inch going all the way around. And then a full tile on top of that. And I don't know why. I guess it had to do with this eventually, but it really didn't, because he managed to match up full tile, and then a cut, and then a piece on top. I don't understand the reason. There's no rational reason for that. Why not just put 2 more tile and I don't know. I don't mean to be boring, sorry about that. There's just so much going on here. I can't wrap my head around all the look here. How are you going to get, there are 2 screws on every shower valve cover, discussion that people call it. You see one hole there, and you know, like, just, yeah. Not only that, this is the old shower valve. He didn't change out the shower valve, nor did he change out the drain. This is the original drain. And I almost always change out the drain for a lot of different reasons, the least of which there is usually stuff caught in the P-trap, and I just want to cut out after the P-trap and get rid of the whole thing and start from scratch. Because you're building a whole shower, spending thousands of dollars, why not spend another $20 and get a new, yeah. So that he used the old one and then had issues of that little video that you just saw, guarantees that this shower failed from the very get-go. Everything else that's done wrong, what I just showed you, is irrelevant at this point. If you finished everything out and it didn't look great, it wouldn't matter anyway, because it's non-functional, meaning it's going to leak again. I don't know what to say, you know. And then he's using aqua defense, but he's not covering the whole floor with it. Is it possible that it would not leak if he had at least covered the whole floor with aqua defense, or somehow, you know, mitigate any water getting into the pan, therefore it couldn't get into the floor, therefore it couldn't get into the drain flange around here where you just saw, and have a functional shower? Maybe, maybe not, but that's a coin toss, as it were. And I don't know, it's a mess. He's doing all his cuts with 2 things. A manual tile cutter, which I rarely use, didn't have a wet saw, and so either a manual tile cutter, nippers, and or a grinder. I was told by the homeowner that he did own a grinder. But here's the problem with that. See the glass? The glass is chipped. I don't know how he managed to not chip more of the glass. The backing of the glass is definitely chipped and scarred up. Look at the gap behind there. Ooh, wow. So the 2 backer boards don't even match up to each other, and then even if they did, it was never filled in with anything. And of course, I don't know if the walls, I'm not really seeing any, I don't know if the walls were waterproof. But anyway, everywhere I look on this tile, where did I see that? On this tile here, there's just, and again, grout's going to fill that, and it's kind of incidental in the scheme of things. But you know, it's just on a ceramic tile, it should be a nice, smooth, even cut. And they're not, they're jagged. All these cuts are jagged. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if he's using a dull blade on that cutter or what the issue is. But anyway, again, and I don't want to go on and on and on. This has already gone on probably too far already. You know, 20 minutes of listening to me complain about somebody else's work is not for the purpose of complaining. It's for the purpose of a heads up. Don't let it get to this point. You know, when the homeowner saw that the pan liner wasn't done right and that the homeowner had to tell him to use thin set instead of tile adhesive, that's at a point where, ooh, wow, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. Get out quick. Because, you know, I don't take pleasure in doing these videos, but I need to do them because this is a couple of $1,000s that's going to be wasted. This guy's going to have to do this again, and there's no reason for that. You know, especially today on the internet with as much due diligence as you can do as a homeowner. Do your due diligence. Know what you should know. Know some of the basics anyway, so that you don't get into this conundrum.
I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, then subscribe. Hit that button and subscribe. I make nothing off of YouTube, so please be a Patreon member. I'm going to post a link down below to my Patreon account, and you can donate $1, $5, $10, $20 a month. Just pledge that on a monthly basis. That will help me produce more videos and content so that you can watch and learn from my channel. And donate at least $50 if you're going to call. If you're going to call for advice, donate to my PayPal, please. Donate first, and then feel free to call me or email me for advice. Otherwise, business calls only, please.